Hi, my name is Bob Grass with AmeriFirst Home Mortgage here in Youngstown, Ohio, and we're here with Melissa Hackenberg from Hackenberg Realty.
Hello.
Um, Hello. What specific adjustments have you had to make to continue doing business during these crazy times?
Well, I would say that we had to start offering more options to buyers and sellers about just taking precautions for respecting the fact that this virus is scary to a lot of people and not ignoring that, but addressing it.
Okay. Have you done anything special or different as far as showing houses?
I have done video for some people. They'd rather not meet in person until they see
Mhm.
whether or not they like the house enough to come out. I have provided disposable masks and gloves for people who do want to come out, but maybe are a little nervous about that. And then there's some people who, it's just like nothing ever happened. They just want to go look at houses and they don't really care about it. So
Right.
it depends on the type of buyer, I guess.
Right. That's fair. Have you found any strategies to be more successful than others?
Um, I would say that the average buyer that I've come across does not care about it at all. So I guess the strategy has been just for those people, just continuing forward and helping them be respectful of the sellers. And, because they don't always feel the same way because it's people coming
Hmm.
to their house. But also letting them know for us, we're essential. So business as usual in most cases with just a few tweaks. So we try to keep things um, we try to be respectful on both sides. So even if somebody as a consumer doesn't necessarily worry about this type of thing, we still have to, do our part to, be respectful.
Hmm. That's fair. Have you seen before all the virus stuff broke out? Did you do a lot of video showings?
I did not consistently, because normally people just want to see a house. They're not going to buy it
Hmm.
sight unseen or make an offer before they've actually physically been inside the property. So not so much. I would do them just to do something different once in a while. But now I try to do a video for most properties. If but they're still selling pretty fast. So one of them I had planned on my schedule to do a video, and it sold before I had a chance. So
Right.
you're still selling pretty quickly, even without it. So the one house that I had, I did a video, um, but I think you're familiar with the house on Mount Vernon. That
Yes.
property, I was the listing agent, and we had 137 showings in 10 days. So
Wow.
people are still buying.
Yeah. Well, I've heard from other agents that, and from yourself as well, but there's just not a lot of good inventory out there.
Right.
So when something hits the market, it's going fast and at list price or above.
So that's the other thing. Like for sellers, um, sellers are we're having a little bit of a different experience with them, especially if they still live in their home. Um, for us, I don't know how it is for everybody, but we are having to be a little bit more convincing that interest rates are still low. You don't want to just continue to wait and hope that everything stays relatively stable right now. So just trying to educate the seller as well as help make them feel safe with offering the options of having the masks and the sanitizers and the gloves and all that at the house so that people are, respecting their space. It's just that's a little bit more tough for an occupied property than what we're experiencing on the buy side.
Hmm. I've heard similar things as well. Have you seen any kind of difference in seller confidence and maybe settling for a lower offer than maybe they should because of everything going on and they're just kind of worried about how things are going?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say that sellers are more, like I was saying before, they're a little bit more nervous than the buyer, especially if they're living in their house, or they're nervous that, the buyer's not going to be able to get their financing, or people aren't going to let me just wait. So they're either in the camp where they want to wait, or some of them are starting to feel like they might have to, give their house away or sell for way less than they anticipated because of what's going on. So I've had to kind of instill confidence in some sellers to say there's still buyers out here. We can do this in a safe way. And then on top of that, once we get some activity going, you don't have to give your house away. And the first incident that I had last week was pretty nice house, beautiful. Somebody offered $30,000 less than asking. So my seller was just completely baffled and was actually considering it. And I had to like smack
Oh.
some sense into him. But I'm like, we are not there yet. We're like 7 days on the market. Please don't panic. That's
Jeez.
crazy. And we did negotiate and get to a place that I was more comfortable with as a professional, and he was more comfortable with obviously not giving his house away. So yeah, it's definitely kind of just what's happening in the market right now is the
Hmm.
seller confidence has gone down, even though the activity is still pretty solid. So
Right.
I don't know what I think. Maybe it's watching the news and kind of feeling like all these people are losing their jobs. If we can just maybe if we slash it down to this, and it's just like everybody just needs to calm down and take a
Yeah.
deep breath. It's gonna be okay. And if it does get a little bit tough, it doesn't mean we're there yet. So just trying to instill some confidence that we're not there yet. So let's not have the sky falling. Just hopefully it does not fall at all, but let's not react before
Right.
it's here. I was stunned because he did tell me, what he wanted and all that, and that was not anywhere close to what that was. So I was very surprised that he felt so nervous about it. And I think it was because it was the offer in hand. And he was worried that, what if
Mhm.
nothing else comes? Then I'll be kicking myself because, people aren't working right now. And he kind of went down a rabbit hole, and I had to say, okay, now you freaked out. It's okay. come back, come back this week. It'll be all right. Like, don't panic. So yeah, he did come back, and we got it all worked out. So it was
Good.
definitely, but that was my first time seeing, on a traditional listing, because I do foreclosures a lot. But on a
Hmm.
traditional listing, out of absolute left field, somebody being that aggressive negotiating. So I was almost offended for him, except for I do this for a living, so I know better. But I was like, how dare you? Yeah.
Wow. And that's why you hire an agent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because if he would have done it on his own, he may have taken that.
Oh yeah, probably. And then how much is that? I mean, you're
Right.
going nuts.
Do you think any of these practices could continue forward after this clears up? Maybe more video showings and that kind of thing?
I would definitely say the initial consultation. So we usually don't just try to meet up with somebody we've never met before in our lives. We try to
Hmm.
get them to come to the office, which, not most agents do not do that. So we are oftentimes met with a little bit of pushback. So having the chance to do a Zoom call, or do our presentation that way, has made it, it's easier to convince somebody just to turn on their webcam, than
Right.
it is to take 15 minutes out of your life and come to my office. So I think that'll be good for us to keep around. The video showing, I think that would be good to keep as an option. I still don't think that most people, because we're not like a real relocation kind of place, we don't get a ton of that. So
Hmm.
it's really not a mentality around here to buy a house without physically visiting it. So I
Hmm.
don't know how much of that will stick, because that's a certain type of personality to because like if you're in Florida, somebody might buy a house coming from New York and have never been inside of it, but that's because lots of people relocate to that area. So it's like a
Right.
mentality. That's not really like there's a lot of local moves around here. So I don't
Mhm.
know if that part will stick. Maybe for some people. I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe with younger generations, they are, they're so tech savvy and they love that kind of stuff. So maybe with that. But do you have any kind of advice for other agents out there that maybe not everyone's using, or things that you've started using and you find that are successful?
I say for other agents, my suggestion is to get out in front of it. Don't pretend like it's not happening. Have some sort of plan and maybe even some supplies. So when you do meet with people, because you never know what you're going to get, and you don't want to come across like you're not addressing the issue, because a lot of people are taking it very seriously. I would say call your database, that's free, and just check in on people. That means a lot. Um, and I also think that during this time, don't stop prospecting and don't stop marketing yourself, because when this all dies down, you are going to be starting from square one if you quit doing everything while all this was happening. So my suggestion is to still hit it, maybe evaluate your expenses and cut things where you can, but don't stop promoting yourself, because you'll be getting the wheel rolling again is it's not easy. So it's easier to slow it down than it is to, have to push it. Getting back out in front of people, starting from scratch, it's not easy. So if you're making those kind of decisions, maybe cut back in some other area.
Definitely.
We are still spending quite a bit on lead generation and marketing. It's just not the place to cut back.
Hmm. Do you have any other tips or any advice for anybody?
One of the things that we did was we put together a COVID-19 um, just kind of procedures for the agents, and it's kind of broken down into a slideshow, so it's something that we can show clients if they're on the fence. So making your own materials to kind of go along with what you already do, just to have safe practices and best practices for continuing to do business during this time, because it's not anything we've ever seen before. So I can't say that enough, not pretending like it's not happening, but coming across like you're prepared and professional and you've got all your ducks in a row and you know what you're doing, and being compassionate towards people. So that's my advice.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. Actually, I do like the idea of providing masks for people, because that's not very expensive and it's very, it can be helpful and still respectful to the, whoever's selling their house.
And one small tip, masks are like $39 for 50 on Amazon, the disposable ones. So any agents that want to provide
Hmm.
those, that's somewhere you can get a whole box and just, maybe put a little basket at your listings so people can
Yeah,
feel
I like
safe.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. It was a joy talking to you. You're in Canton and I'm in Youngstown, so we don't get to see each other face to face very often. But it was very informative, and you answered all my questions without hesitation.
All right. Glad to do it.
All right. Thanks again.
You take care.